Tonight, the Spartan Sim Racing League and its Truck Series makes its way to Sparta, Kentucky, as they look to try and see who can charge their way to victory lane tonight. This is the 6th race of the season, and we're glad to have you with us here on Grid Vision. Good evening, everyone. I'm Justin Prince, alongside with the move tonight's Nick Stein, with Austin Darby Sharp producing as we get ready for what's expected to be an interesting one from the Bluegrass State. Kentucky expected to be an entertaining race, to say the very least, tonight, Nick, as we go back to a track that looks to try and eventually see if there's a return in real life. But tonight, we visited in the sim world.
Yeah, Kentucky is a very interesting track, and I've talked to a few drivers tonight, and they're actually saying this is a mile and a half you have to drive with the trucks. It's from what I've heard, I talked to Brandon Edstrom a little bit earlier today. He said he was saying that Kentucky is a track that you can run out flat out in 1 and 2, but you're actually having to lift and get onto the brakes in 3 and 4. So it is going to be a very interesting race tonight. See how these drivers are able to save some tires, because that right front's going to be burning off in 3 and 4, and it's going to be kind of loose in 1 and 2 with how different this track is. And I'm excited for it. It's not going to be your typical cookie cutter tonight.
And lots to talk about entering tonight when it comes to the series itself. Raymond Root coming into tonight, mind you, is the points leader by 32 points. Blair Hoyman, though, has been keeping it very tight as of late. He picked up a point, in fact, last time out. But it was Brendan Edstrom who picked up his first victory of the season last time out, which is the second top 5. That put him up to the top 5 in the points. In fact, into 4th position, just 38 back of the points leader, with Mike Burnett between them and Hoyman. Kendall Levron, though, he plummeted last time out of the standings. He dropped all the way back to 5th, despite finishing in the 7th position last time out. And it should be interesting how tonight plays out, Nick, because tonight there's a change when it comes to some of the rules. How about this? Single car qualifying, but with the twist, it's live single car qualifying, like the railroad action tonight, which in turn adds some more pressure. Your thoughts on the qualifying, Nick?
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one to watch. A little bit more in-depth on it is there's going to be 2 cars out on track at a time. So as one car is finishing their qualifying lap, they're going to go ahead and send out another one to start their qualifying run. So, and a couple other things as well is it's going to be reverse of practice time. So as it sits right now, Austin Runkle would be your first qualifier since he is last in practice times, and Blair Holloman would be your last qualifier. So things are going to get a little bit interesting tonight with how different qualifying is going to be. So that'll throw another little wrench into how this league is run and how these drivers are able to tackle this track.
And in turn as well, the choose cone is going to be interesting to think about for this one, Nick, because there's actually going to be a physical car as the cone. No pressure.
Yeah, I'm sitting here laughing about it because of how wild it is to think about that. And It's also crazy to know that if you do hit that choose code, not only are you going to get an EOL, but you're most likely going to get some damage from it as well. So these drivers are definitely going to have some fun tonight trying to deal with that live choose code, as I like to call it.
Let's take a look at the schedule of upcoming events before we get into qualifying tonight. Grid Vision having a busy week already when it comes to Grid Vision Super Speedways. Several of the drivers, in fact, moving from SSRL Truck Series competition to also running Grid Vision Super Speedways at Daytona this week. But a big race tomorrow. The Corna Seca is tomorrow at WeatherTech Raceway with Corna Seca. Then on Sunday, a double dose of racing. Phoenix Raceway for the Global Racing League Truck Series, and it is RGR in the chase for the Kaiwa Grass Cup at Kentucky at this circuit, in fact, on Sunday night. You can catch all of that once more here on Grid Vision. Almost set to go, meanwhile, for SSRL Truck Series qualifying. Again, single car qualifying. Austin Runkle going to be due up to lead things off when it comes to this qualifying session tonight. In terms of practice speeds, Porter Hoyman set the fastest time in the practice session, 30.661, followed by Corey Saucier and Corey Harville, should say, amongst the top runners in final practice. So drivers getting themselves situated and ready for qualifying. Drivers just getting sorted before they hit the racetrack for the qualifying grouping today, Nick.
Yeah, I heard a couple of other things as well. I talked to Dave Fuge this morning, and he said that basically how they're going to run this is as soon as you hear your name over the in-race radio. So what they're going to do is they're going to call out over the race control channel and say, for example, Austin Runkle, you are allowed to take the track for qualifying. So they're going to have everyone line up in terms of how they finish in practice. So in this case, it would be last practice time first. So Austin Runkle would be going first, then Thomas Wolf, and then Tanner Marty. So it could be an advantage to not do as good in practice and then kind of be first in qualifying. So right now we're seeing Austin Runkle. He got his name called, so he's going to come out for his qualifying lap now. And some other things to note is if you spin on your qualifying lap, you have to tow as soon as you spin. You cannot get going once again, and you cannot set a qualifying time as far as I know. And then if you spin coming out of the pits and another driver comes and hits you, you're not allowed to set your qualifying lap either. So just some things for these guys to keep an eye out for.
So qualifying now officially underway for the first time in this group format. Austin Runkle, the first of those respective drivers here for today. Austin Runkle amongst those who had a rough time in his Speedways debut this Monday, but so far in this series, it's been also a bit up and down. His team, though, has showed some good speed with drivers like Christopher Burnham throughout the campaign. Green flag is out for Austin Runkle.
Through turn 1 and 2, of course, you're going to be able to be mostly flat out here, so that's going to be something these guys have to keep an eye on, and it looks like a little bit slower of a first lap here to prepare for that second lap is kind of how these guys are going to set it up. Actually, it looks like Charles Abert's going full out on his first lap as well, so I guess I was a little bit wrong. It looks like 3 cars are going to be out on track setting laps at the same time, so I may have been a little bit wrong, but we'll see how this plays out.
Austin Runkle, that time by setting a 31-1. As he reaches his white flag circuit. Charles Abert also on circuit. Abert had a 30.9 in practice. So several drivers look to set their respective times here as they all get gathered up on pit lane for their order quickly.
Yeah, it looks like they're allowed to set 2 laps, and then they have to bring it down pit road. Now I believe they're sending out the second group of drivers, which I believe would be... I'm not sure who they sent out here.
Robbie Oss Jr., they sent out as well. His 31 flat was the start of his session. Charles Abert's best time was a 31.047. Robbie Oss Jr. setting a 30.875. Interesting enough, Austin Runkle did not set a time either lap, so it appears he had an unsafe pit entry, cost him his lap times. Hence why there's a discrepancy when it comes to the first qualifier.
Yeah, it's a blessing in a disguise to be the first qualifier, because the blessing is you get to run first in qualifying and get it out of the way, but the kind of the bad part of that is everyone gets to see what you do. And of course, if you get that unsafe pit exit, then unfortunately you don't get to set a time there. But we should be seeing our next qualifiers come out, which will be Tanner Marty, Raymond Root, and I believe Dave Fuge, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, indeed. So it looks like the drivers of the 83 and 07 were set at the wrong times. That's why there's a bit of a delay here for this. So they have kept Tanner Marty and Raymond Root in the line, then Thomas Wolf. Essentially, I think what happened was, this can happen in timing and scoring in the sim itself, when they set things up and shuffle things sometimes with the qualifying, sometimes you get a different order than the actual practice times if you forget to click the word practice.
Yeah, that could be a little bit of a, yeah, you're most likely right, because Thomas Wolf wasn't a part of that first group. So that seems to be what the issue is. But got our second group of qualifiers out there now. Tanner Marty, Raymond Root, and I believe it was the 91 of Thomas Wolf are on track now. So this will be the second group, and it's going to be like this all throughout. So they're going to send 3 out at a time, as I said earlier, and it's going to be 3 people setting a time, or setting a qualifying time at a time, if that makes sense. English is hard, sorry.
So Tanner Marty from Duval, Washington on the circuit. He finished 9th at Kansas. He actually finished in the top 5 in the first couple starts he made this season, but missed a race, hence why he's a bit further in the points. First time for him. Sets itself in the 31.3. Second lap's expected to be quicker. Also on track, as mentioned, Raymond Root. Keep in mind, Raymond Root earlier tonight in the session was towards the bottom of the board in practice of 30.9. Also on track, how about Thomas Wolf? He made his debut last time out, Nick, but if you've been keeping an eye on the channel on Sundays, he's been the long run king when it comes to the RGR chase for the Combo Glass Cup.
Yeah, he was really, really quick in the truck race at Kansas, and unfortunately, he got caught up in a couple of wrecks. He was running up in the top 7 for the majority of the night, from what I remember, and he got involved in a wreck right at the beginning of stage 2 that pretty much ended his night. So he's looking for a better start to the race and a better finish as well for this race this weekend as well.
Time's coming in. Tanner Marty setting a 30.937, should say. Raymond Root at 30.877. Thomas Wolf, his best time was a 30.956. The next group of drivers coming out, Mike Burnett in the 39 machine, Alex Murray in the 22, and Brandon Edstrom in the 74, all due to come out. So we start with Burnett, the Waddington, New York-based driver, and his organization, again, having a strong showing in the late stages, especially in Gridfish and Super Speedways this week. He also comes off a top 5 at Kansas after qualifying in the top 10. He's also a driver with an average start inside the top 9 this season.
Yeah, Mike Burnett was another one that had a really, really strong showing at Kansas. He was up front and in the top 5 for the majority of the night, but unfortunately on that last, 25 lap run, he just burnt his tires off a little bit too fast and wasn't able to keep up with the likes of Brandon Edstrom, Blair Holloman, and RJ Root, who ended up finishing 1, 2, 3 in that race. But Mike Burnett, he is a fast driver, and he is looking for a better showing this week. And I do think he has the pace to do it, as he sets a 30.842 there. That's going to put him top of the boards, so keep an eye on that 39 tonight. He's looking pretty quick.
Alex Murray also on track, looking for his first start to go well tonight in terms of points. For Brandon Edstrom, the defending race winner from Kansas Speedway. He led 20-plus laps at Kansas, starting about middle of the board on his first lap, another 30.8 in the qualifying on the lap 1. Checker flags being waved across the track for the others. Alex Murray, a 30.6, sets the bar by 0.2 over Mike Burnett. What does Brandon Edstrom do is the question in the 74 truck as he closes out his respective group. Checker flag, Brandon Edstrom coming out of the corner right now as the next group waits in the wings. It's a 30.850, not much improvement on lap 2. That gets him third best though.
Third best is a very good starting spot. Of course, that may not stand, as you still got, I believe you still got 3 more groups worth of qualifying, and the next one should be PB Henry, John Holliday, and Christopher Burnham. So PB Henry coming on track now. He had a kind of a down week for the 25, you would say, compared to what he's had the previous races. He was Oh, excuse me. He was in the top 10 for the majority of the night, but it didn't seem like that 25 had the pace to keep up with the guys that ended up eventually winning the race. So he's definitely looking for a better race this week, but he said he does not like the 1.5 miles, so he may be another struggle bus tonight.
Him and his sibling Connor, known for their sim racing exploits. Also, he's a part of Legacy Esports Academy this year. He's the first of the respective drivers on track right now in the group. The second of the drivers in this group currently on circuit is John Holliday, who is in his second start of his career in the 51. And the other driver on track currently would be Christopher Burnham in the 93. And he nearly picked up a win on debut at Daytona this week in Grid Vision Super Speedways. He's also been someone was doing well in his limited starts. 1 win, 1 top 5, 3 top 10s. He hasn't finished outside 10th in any of his starts so far.
Yeah, Christopher Burnham.
He's in the wall.
Christopher Burnham. I believe was that Burnham in the wall?
Yes, it was.
Oh, that is going to be a lap ruiner and maybe even a run ruiner for that 93 car 93 truck, because you and I both know if you hit the wall at all, especially at 1.5 miles, that is pretty much run over, because that just ruins any momentum you have, especially at Kentucky with how easy it is to take turns 1 and 2 flat. So doesn't look like Christopher Burnham may be setting a good time, but PB Henry, he goes second on the boards with a 30.767. We'll see what Burnham sets here.
Oh, and because of the contact, Burnham technically gets a black flag in the sim, which means he doesn't set a qualifying time. Holiday, though, set 4th best. He tied Mike Burnett on the board, in fact. But it's Henry who gets to at least the front row for the time being. The next group is on track. It's Kendall Levron, who is amongst one of the fastest runners in final practice. He was 4th quickest. He leads the group with Corey Harville next out of the 14 machine. And then, also in this group, Corey Saucier and his 33 machine. So, some of your top runners in final practice. Now looking to see what they can do in qualifying.
I'll tell you what, Justin, this group that's out on the track right now, these are some of the fastest guys in this league. We've seen Kendall Levron. He's been up front in a lot of these races. Corey Harville, he's been up in the top 10 for a few of these races. And Corey Saucier, he exploded onto the scene during Talladega, finishing 2nd in that race. So he's looking for a really good race. I believe he finished 7th last week at Kansas. So Saucier is definitely one to watch tonight. Maybe an upset pick for some people tonight.
Keep in mind when it comes to the second of these drivers on track, Corey Harville. His debut in the 14. Second lap's underway for some. Levron on his first lap went to 3rd, Nick.
Levron putting on a heater right there, a 7.79. He's under a 10th off of Alex Murray on the first lap. Now remember, Alex set that lap on the first lap of qualifying, so we'll see if Levron can be a little bit quicker on the second lap. Getting ready to cross the line here. 30.784, so marginally slower than his first lap. So that's going to put Kendall Levron up into 3rd position, which is not a bad starting spot here.
So he doesn't improve on the second indeed. Harville trying to use the apron, gets to 4th quickest at 30.8. The last of the drivers, the 33, takes the checker to Corey Saucier, jumps to 2nd, just a couple 100s off the pole.
I tell you what, I called him an upset pick tonight. I got to upgrade that a little bit. He may be a legitimate contender tonight. He is the only one within a 0.5 of Alex Murray there. He is just under a 0.5, so keep an eye on that 33. He looks really, really quick tonight.
And funnily enough, he had made a post on the free agents Discord portion of the server, and basically he was like, I'm here about the job. That was enough for him to get a spot with Zoo Yost for the season. Speaking of his team boss, these muscles on track, also on track. Blair Hollyman, who was the quickest in final practice. Dave Fuchs Jr. is also amongst those looking to work around the track as we look to close out the session.
Last to the set of time here, of course, Christopher Burnham getting that black flag. He won't set a time tonight, and neither will Austin Runkle, who I believe got a black flag coming off of pit road. So those will be the last two to not set times tonight. I don't think they're going to get a redo, unfortunately, but we'll have to see. Blair Holloman coming for his first lap here. 30.828, that's going to put him up in the top 6 there, exactly 6th position. And then we're waiting on Dave Fuge to come off of turn 4 here, see what he sets here.
Junior 30.9 to start his respective run. Hollyman was in the 30.8s, good enough for 6th best. The 10 working through 3 and 4. Hollyman, amongst those looking to fight for the championship, enters tonight 2nd of the points. 2 top 5s and 5 top 10s in the first 5 weeks. Not able to pick up a spot, though. He does pick up some time, but it's going to be where he's going to likely start. 6th position. Dave Fuge Jr., checkered flag on the other side of the speedway. Does not improve past 12th position. So Christopher Burnham, after hitting the wall, doesn't set a qualifying time. Austin Runkle picks up a black flag before the run even begins. Jordan Sailors, well, he didn't take part in final practice, so he doesn't get to qualify. So that just about closes out the qualifying session. Looks like drivers got a few moments before we hit the racetrack. Your thoughts on how qualifying broke out as Alex Murray sets the pole time this week?
Yeah, Alex Murray, I talked to him earlier as well. He said he wasn't that confident in the trucks and saying that he really wasn't that good at Kentucky either. Well, I think he may have been a little bit of black magic there trying to confuse me because he does not look like someone who doesn't know how to drive the trucks. So he definitely looks fast, but I'm looking from pretty much 5th all the way down to 12th, all within the 30.8. So I think that's where our battle's going to be from like 5th to 10th. I think that's where everyone's going to be sitting. Of course, you don't know with long run speed who's going to do what, who's going to be where. So qualifying time's not really something to tell times off of, but that top 3, that top 4 even looking really, really, really dangerous tonight.
Right now, drivers are waiting on Kendo Levron, apparently, according to race control. So we'll see how things play out in terms of his preparation methods tonight. But Kentucky Speedway on the docket for tonight. The fuel limit for this race, 60%. 3 tire sets in the pits, 100 laps. Remember, the stage is lap 50 tonight. So drivers just got the word that the session about to make its way to the race portion of the night. Again, 18 entries looking to battle it out. Who do you think is going to be the one to beat tonight? And in other words, I'm asking your pick.
Well, I know I said don't take a look at qualifying times to judge pace, but you cannot count out Alex Murray. He is way too quick to count out this. I mean, he said he doesn't have a lot of experience in the trucks, and he's looking really quick. We'll have to see what his long run pace is looking like, but I'm going to go for a bit of a sleeper pick here. I'm going to go with Corey Saucier in the 33 truck. We'll see what he can do. He looks really, really quick, and he looked really, really consistent at Kansas. So that's going to be my sleeper pick for tonight is Corey Saucier.
We'll see how tonight plays out as those two start at the front row. Prodigy Esports driver Alex Murray, start 1, pole 1. In terms of the points tallies, Corey Saucier second. Then it's Henry and Levron in row 2. Harville also on debut starts 5th. Then it's Blair Hollyman in the 6th spot. Mike Burnett starts back in 7th alongside John Holiday in his 2nd start. Brandon Edstrom coming off the win at Kansas starts 9th. And Rob Yost Jr., he looks to say yo from the 10th position, Nick.
Your championship leader, Raymond Root, starting in 11th position tonight. Dave Fuge gets the 12th spot with a 30.889. Tara Marty starting 13th position. Thomas Wolf 14th. Charles Abert takes the last spot in terms of qualifying times in 15th position. Jordan Sailors, I don't believe he's racing tonight, is going to start 16th. He's lined up 16th at least. Christopher Burnham's going to start 17th, and Austin Runkle is going to start shotgun on the field in 18th position tonight.
So let's look top to bottom at the running order here tonight. We get all set to go racing 100 laps around this mile and a half circuit, about 150 miles on the docket today. Essentially just a little bit longer than what you would see in a C Open race, but with more pit stops expected on said docket. But in turn, with it being just 60% of the fuel tanks, that's about 11 gallons. In terms of what to expect, what do you expect that strategy slice to be like with those less fuel capacity size tanks?
Yeah, we're going to be looking at anywhere. Fuel window is going to be sitting 27 to 30 laps tonight is what these drivers are going to want to shoot for. We've seen Raymond Root the last 2 mile-and-a-half races at Charlotte and Kansas, respectively. We've seen him go 30 but not take tires it ended up with him winning Charlotte because he had the extra set at the end, but he loses that time going up to the stage. So I expect Raymond Root to not take tires on this first stop, while everyone else will most likely take tires. So we'll have to see if that works out for Raymond Root, as he's going to be starting from 11th position tonight. He'll have some tough times, but yeah, 30 laps on fuel, and it looks like 3 sets of tires. So these guys are going to have some fun tonight trying to, you know, stretch those 3 tires sets out. We'll see definitely some different pit strategy tonight with these 3 sets of tires, and we'll have to see who plays what cards. You know, it's that, you know, 200-mile-an-hour game of chess I always talk about.
Do the mathematics, that's about 25 laps per stint of tires available in the pits tonight. Can't gonna be tough unless it stays green for some. So just about ready to go. Again, glad and happy with us for tonight's action here for the SSRL Truck Series. It's 6th race from Kentucky. Its first ever Truck Series campaign, as it looks to expand especially for next season. So we'll see how tonight goes for this one. With the pressure on, it's the midway point of the season, mind you. There's only a couple more mile and a half to go after tonight. Keep in mind, Nick.
Yeah, these guys, there's not much time left in this season, especially this championship. Only, as you said, a very short championship, only 12 rounds, but these guys definitely making the most of those rounds as they're coming off turn 4. Geez, coming off turn 4 towards the green flag.
Happy to have you with us for the SSRL Truck Series. It's 6th race of the season from Kentucky. Green flag is out. We're underway from the Bluegrass State.
Alex Murray getting a big bump for PB Henry there, coming off that restart. PB Henry going to get to the inside of Alex Murray, going down the backstretch into turn 3. PB Henry has the nose. Alex Murray going to cut it off, though. Give him the dirty air through turns 3 and 4. Then that's going to lose a lot of time for that 25 truck off of 4.
Forced to check up a fair bit and regroup. Harville trying to go to the outside. 2x2 a couple rows deep as Murray leads his first lap of the season. Edstrom not afraid to send it 3 wide, though. After all, the bottom so important in 1 and 2.
Yeah, the bottom very, very important here, as it is flat out in 1 and 2, especially, well, maybe not in dirty air, but as a solo driver, you are definitely flat out 1 and 2. So that bottom line of utmost importance, and we're already seeing that outside line start to struggle. Corey Harville starting 3rd position tonight. Ooh, almost a little bit of extra Krieglers off the corner there.
Henry nearly got the run alongside Murray, forced to check up a second time in 2 laps through 3 and 4. Mike Burnett also building up some momentum to try and battle for second. And you're already seeing some of the struggles may be alluded to by Murray on the short run even. That draft allowing Henry to close up a lot out of 2.
You got to keep in mind, Alex Murray, a prominent figure in the A-Open scene, as he is one of the faster guys. I believe he finished 7th in NIS points this season for the Cup car. So definitely not used to how the trucks drive, as PB Henry getting to the rear end once again, trying to give some air to the 22 of Alex Murray. Here comes Brandon Edstrom, though. He's to the inside of PB Henry. He says, I want a shot at this battle here and a shot at the lead. I heard some fighting words from Brandon earlier towards Alex Murray, so we'll have to see how these two decide to play it out. PB Henry, though, to the outside. Able
to get the run, squeezing him on down. Can he get the pass done for the high side is the question. Henry through 1 and 2, forced up high. Edstrom waiting for a hole, and it looks like Murray lets him drop. PB Henry to the point already.
We've seen this battle happen before, especially in an NIS race. PB Henry getting past Alex Murray right now, but I know exactly what Alex Murray is planning. He's planning for the long run here. He doesn't know how this truck's going to handle over a long run. Said he was very, very nervous for tonight, so we'll have to see how that affects how the 22 Alex Murray plays this. But for now, PB Henry is your leader, starting in first now.
Keep in mind, the top 6 breaking away a bit. Corey Harville, who started in 5th, trying to hold on to the 7th spot in front of Kendall Levron. Levron dropped like a rock right off the launch. He's already back 4.
Kendall Levron definitely showing his struggles, but the car that's not showing his struggles, look at that. Corey Saucier attempting a move on Mike Burnett for 4th position. Brandon Edstrom cutting off the nose of Mike Burnett. It's going to allow Saucier to get a run here. He's not going to take it as Mike Burnett's going to attempt to get to the outside of the 74, Brandon Edstrom. And this is gonna be where our main fight is. This breakaway of 6 cars here as Mike Burnett gets to the outside of Brandon Edstrom. Edstrom having to defend to the inside. Maybe trying to make this an attacking move on Alex Murray. Murray gonna cut him off though, and that's gonna allow Saucier under Burnett. A little bit of contact, but they keep it straight. Saucier forced to check up, and that's gonna allow Holloman to attack.
Some more contact as here come the Zoo Yost Racing Machines trying to battle side by side. Hyman up top. He looks to show that sparkle and shine as he tries to get the top to work again through 1 and 2. Not as much of a run there, but does have the draft to clear down the backstretch.
That is just another point to prove of how powerful draft here is at Kentucky Speedway. Saucier once again trying to get up to Blair Holloman. He's been trying to build that momentum for a long time. And unfortunately, one tiny little mistake demotes him from 4th all the way back down to 6th, and he's going to have to start this all over again.
So with the regrouping process, he looks to try and settle it in right now. The pace for the lead pack already 5/10 and fall off to 31.5s. Oh, and the teammates getting a little bit blocky there. Hyman not wanting to let up the bottom. Saucier nearly getting a chance on the bottom. All this is allowing everyone else who fell back nearly a full second to already compress. Harville, Levron, Christopher Burnham, Raymond Root, and several more all have caught up to the main pack's draft. The whole field outside of 2 trucks is separated by just 4 seconds.
Another one of those put a blanket over the entire field moments as it looks like Alex Murray may be trying another pass here. He made a look to the inside of Philip Henry, but doesn't look like the move was there, so he's going to wait one more corner. He gets a really good run off of turn 4. He's got his teammate in the 74, Brandon Edstrom, behind him. Will this allow a move into 1? Henry defends the inside. Doesn't allow Alex Murray to get that run and get to his inside. And it's bottom feeder city here at Kentucky Speedway, and what we're already seeing that is you really can't make a move as Alex Murray making a move to the inside of 3.
He looks for the lead. Henry lets him take the lead. No! Nearly trying to get it back high side. Murray immediately blocks it. That helps the teammate Brandon Edstrom for Prodigy. Now it's side by side for second. Henry trying to play defensive now. Mike Burnett trying to push whatever line's moving. The back row bandit machine helps push the Prodigy trucks to 1-2.
Yeah, that was perfectly played by the 39 of Mike Burnett there. He saw Philip Henry was getting past, and he immediately sent it to the inside to help the 74 Brandon Edstrom, and now Holloman looking for a move here. That's how quickly things can go awry here at Kentucky Speedway. One lap you can be leading, coming off of 4. The next lap you're back in 4th position, and Philip Henry has no idea what just hit him.
Fastest truck in the top 5 on the average the past 5 after all, mind you, has been Blair Hyman well into the past lap. You see how things are in terms of the pace and the intervals. Murray trying to hold on to the clean air. Hyman now already up to the 4th position, looking for 3rd. You know who changed that interval stat? The driver in front of him. The draft really helping the 39 and the 10 as a script to the wall for the 33. Trouble for Saucier.
Saucier had just gotten around the 25 of PB Henry, and he got into the wall off of 4 there. That's going to allow the rookie of this series, Corey Harville, to make a move to the inside here. Side by side for 6th position now between the 14 and the 33, but it looks like the draft is going to help Corey Saucier clear the 14. As I say that, the 14 of Corey Harville sending it to the inside, but that's going to allow Corey Saucier to try and make a move to the outside of PB Henry off of turn 4. And man, that 33 making that outside work a lot better than I thought was possible here.
And it's pretty clear that if you can pinch down and you're willing to take the risk with the tires, it can, yes, work. But it's such a track where it's hard to get a full rhythm because it's not the same banking in 3 and 4 compared to 1 and 2. It's basically old style Kentucky in 3 and 4, but it's basically new age mile and a half everywhere else.
That's the one thing I like about Kentucky is it's a driver's track with how different each corner is, and we're going to say this a lot tonight. It's you're flat out in 1 and 2, and you're having to brake in 3 and 4. It's just such a fun track to drive. As ahead of this, we got Mike Burnett making a move to the inside of the 74, Brandon Edstrom. Edstrom trying to defend here. He's going to pinch off the nose of Mike Burnett and keep second place for now, but that's going to allow Blair Holloman to get to the outside of the 39 of Mike Burnett. Battle for P3 here. Blair Holloman, Mike Burnett side by side.
Able to get the run, the 10. Can Holloman get the pinch down? Looks like he's keeping the momentum up at least to make the move. Has the draft off the corner. And that's enough for Holloman to swap for third spot. And that could be critical for the points later down the line. Yes, we're still halfway through the season, but every point matters, right? Especially with stage points to factor in. Holloman and Burnett separated by 4 points entering the night. Battles on for the lead. Brandon Edstrom has the run for the point. He looks underneath his teammate all the way on the apron.
I was just getting ready to say this is going to be the fall-off point for the tires. We are past 15 laps in this run, so this is going to be where drivers are going to start to feel how their truck's going to handle for the long run here. Still side by side for the lead. Murray getting the run off the top. Edstrom on the bottom, though. He looks like he's going to clear the 22. As I say that, here comes Alex Murray, and Holloman's going to help the 22 of Alex Murray trying to attack the 74 of Edstrom. Murray, though, gives the draft to the 74, Brandon Edstrom. But Holloman still getting to the outside. We're going to be side by side for P2.
Murray trying to play the middle. Up above the seam goes Holloman. Does that work to keep alongside Edstrom? Just about does. Edstrom definitely gave him a break. Nearly squeezed him up towards the fence for a split second.
How is this going to play out for Alex Murray? He sees his teammate being hounded by the 10, but Brandon Edstrom getting passed by Blair Holloman. That's going to allow Holloman to go up and attempt to attack the 22 of Alex Murray. He's had a stranglehold on this race so far as soon as he got past the 25 at PB.
Now it's Holloman to the outside. He's the most comfortable, it seems, on that second groove. Near contact with the 22 of Murray. Holloman been setting this up for a little bit. He's been the quickest truck on track in these past 10 laps now. He takes the lead for the first time up on the top groove. And now Holloman looks to try and see if he can be the one to set sail.
7 laps from our pit window opening here. We've seen people pit as early as 24 and as late as 30, so gonna split it in the middle for fuel strategy here. I would want, if I was Alex Murray or Brandon Edstrom or anyone in this top 5, I would be shooting for 27 here, as we already see how fast Blair Holloman can be on a long run here. So we'll have to keep an eye on that, and especially an eye on these other guys as they're starting to fall off a little bit, as now Mike Burnett and Corey Harville are looking to attack here, as they're going to be side by side for 5th position.
Just seeing on the production how things have played out. Austin Runkle has elected to come down to the pit lane already. He had been well off the pace. Something has been going on with the 18 truck. We'll see what's happened there later on. He's already lost a lap. But you're about to say, with some of the passes right now, with how things have gone, this is where that tire where you talked about can really kick in after all. Already more than a second on the fall off. Drivers like Saucier starting to see a lot of fall off. In fact, others like Root and several more are another 3/10 off the leader pace.
Yeah, and RJ Root, what I think he will do, which is what he's done in the last few races, as I said pre-race, he hasn't been taking tires on this first green flag pit stop in stage 1, so I think that's what he's going to do here, as he's been kind of falling off, you know, saving some tire, but we'll see how he decides to play this. But if it's anything to go off his last few races, he has not taken tires, so we'll have to see what the 7 of RJ Root does here. But as I said, it looks like he's trying to save some tire here.
Pit window just about to open up here, so we'll see if anyone elects to go on the quarter marks or try and stretch it on the gas. Keep in mind, fuel expected to be a big part as there's some contact a bit. What's going on with the 11? That's 14th Dave Foods Jr., who just knocked the wall down a couple times down the backstretch.
Foods seems to be struggling with the handling of his truck. You can see the scratches down the side of that 11 truck, so he is definitely on the struggle bus right now in terms of overall speed, sitting down in 14th position right now. Not the race that 11 wants, but for now, just not having a good time, as I like to say.
So in turn, when it comes to this track, there is the access road there on the bottom of the track, but expect drivers to dive off turn 4 in theory tonight. In turn, how difficult is it at Kentucky for that pit entrance?
I would say it's probably a really, really tricky pit road to get onto, especially with the difference in banking. You would think with it being not as bad as some other tracks like Kansas, it would be a lot easier to get onto, but I'll be the first to tell you, on worn tires at a semi-flat track like Kentucky, it is a lot harder because for whatever reason, that transition from banking from what it is here to flat is very, very harsh, and I find it very hard to get onto pit road here. So we'll have to see how some drivers handle this. But Corey Harville side by side with Brandon Edstrom for third position. He's to the outside, but Edstrom has the run off the corner.
Harville, keep in mind, had fallen away from the lead group at one point. Pit stop calls over the radio. Edstrom forced up high. Already Dave Foods Jr. Rob Yost coming in. Contact Harville hits Brandon Edstrom's door. That nearly got very dangerous there for the third spot. In the backdrop, Kendall Levron coming into the pit. Rob Yost still on the jacks. And Dave Foods Jr. looks like he's taking the fuel-only strat. He was only in the box for 11 seconds.
Definitely a fuel-only call there. He's going to be going to the end of the stage here. And we'll have to see when these leaders decide to pit, as 30 is the limit. Looks like maybe another lap for the top two at least. Yeah. One more lap for the majority of your top five. Actually, make it all of your top five, as here comes Mike Burnett down pit road.
So back row bandit machines all coming down. Most of them, in fact, this time. Bart Hoyman's already calling on the radio. He plans to join them this upcoming time. Same for Brandon Edstrom. More calls over to the radio. John Hoyman and several more looking to do the same. Here's a look from the race leader, Hoyman. Oh, and Alex Murray trying to pass him high side on the pit entry.
It looks like he may do it. Edstrom really aggressive in the pit road, too. He makes up a lot of time. Gonna be a 45-mile-an-hour drag race down pit road, and it looks like Alex Murray has the edge now. Never thought I'd be getting excited calling a race down pit road.
Keep in mind, the Ted's closer to the pit box, so it's not a disadvantage per se for him. Does have the shorter distance because the curve. So Harville leads a lap. Now he looks to lead him and Henry to pit road. This is the end of lap 30. And there goes Harville. Harville has spun on the pit entry, and he's hit the wall. No caution. We stay green. Another one spins in Tanner Marty.
I was watching some others when that happened, and that's it right there. That's how difficult it can be to get on pit road. We saw a couple of people spin there, but RJ Root, first one off pit road, does not take tires. But Alex Murray did. Everyone else behind RJ Root did. So we'll have to see how this plays out for Raymond Root. Of course, he will have the extra set of tires at the end of this race compared to the likes of Alex Murray, Brandon Edstrom, those guys that were running in the top 3, top 5, that kind of area. So things will get interesting at the end, but for now, expect to see Raymond Root falling through the field incredibly quickly here.
Munzel's also on the call, Kendall Levron. Also on the call is Henry, hence why Henry's leading, albeit not for long, because there's a choo-choo train in the backdrop. And it's involving Alex Murray on the high side. Murray makes the pass quick on the tires. Hoyman also amongst those on the tires, quickly passing by Raymond Root as things cycle. And funny comment on the radio. The response was, Raymond Root to PB Henry, you're learning. Here's a look at what happened with the 14. We already seen the spin. And in turn, at least having a clean run to the pit box. But the comments on the radio back and forth are simple. Philip Henry apparently trying to learn off Raymond Root, or that's what Raymond thinks.
I mean, I don't want to say anything here because it could involve with me starting some beef between these two, but Raymond Root is definitely the leader here when it comes to stuff like this. He's always been the one to try off-the-wall strategies, and, you know, a lot of them don't work, but it seems like he's found something here with how this fuel tank works. So Raymond Root already starting to gain some followers. He's only done this for 2 or 3 races, but yeah, just, man.
Well, on screen, you see what happened to 2 different drivers. And never got bad on that pit entry because not only did the 14 spin, but Marty nearly spun into the 14.
More than likely heard that car spun on the low and kind of freaked out getting on the pit road. I mean, that, like I said, that proves it. That's how difficult it is to get on the pit road here at Kentucky. Of course, if you know how to get on pit road, it doesn't seem that tough, but especially with this not really being that popular of a track, so to speak, and it not being on the schedule for a while, it looks like a lot of people may have forgotten how to get on pit road here.
Coming up to the final laps up this stage, we'll take a quick step aside. Coverage continues for the SSRL Truck Series from Kentucky Speedway. You're watching Grid Vision.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series.
Welcome back to tonight's coverage here on Grid Vision of the SSRL Truck Series. Justin Pritz, Nick Stein, Army Shire producing as Blair Hollyman, now your race leader by 0.3 of a second over Alex Murray. As you see on the side-by-side, the move made for the lead. Brandon Edstrom, he's trying to make things interesting, though. They're part of a 3-car truck breakaway. Mike Burnett and Corey Saucier trying to keep it a 5-1. Keep in mind, Christopher Burnham is the last of those up towards the front on the 4-tire strat. And then it's Henry Root, Rob Yost, and Kendall Levron, who are about half a track back. Keep in mind, Henry Root and Levron all did not take tires during the pit stop sequence. So a lot of strategies come into play as we're down to the final 10 laps of the stage.
And kind of go in a little bit more in depth on why Henry Root and Levron didn't take tires, and that's going to give them, as I said a little bit earlier, that's going to give them the extra set of tires there at the end. Of course, if we get if we get a late caution, which it seems like at the 1.5 miles, we've definitely gotten a few of those late cautions. So, not a bad pit strategy call. And they sacrifice the stage points to get that extra speed at the end of the race, which, of course, the more points come with the win. So I really like the call, not taking tires on that green flag pit stop.
Again, those drivers, some of them actually still in range to potentially get stage points. They might need a little luck along the way to be able to do so, though, with how things have played out here. There's a good example. Rob Yost Jr. taking a point away from Raymond Root, or at least trying to. Not able to make the full move, though. Still stuck side by side. Corey Harville, though, has a good chance since he did take tires in the 14. Despite the spin, he's still in the middle of the field. And now he's going 3 wide.
Oh, it's going to get sketchy with the old tires. Raymond Root, though, keeps it out of the 14 of Harville. And Yost is going to go to the inside. That's going to put Raymond Root back down into 10th position. And here comes the 91 of Thomas Wolf. So it looks like Raymond Root will not get stage points here unless these guys start to drastically fall off within the next 7 laps. And as I say that, Raymond Root coming back once again on the 83 of Rob Yost.
Trying to dive inside. But Yost Jr. able to squeeze on down. But yeah, Thomas Wolf. At one point, he lost the draft by about nearly 2 seconds. He's been able to recover nicely in that 91 truck to be able to get himself at least into stage point range. And with the different strats, might be able to get as high as 9th, if not a little bit higher here with these next 5 laps or so.
And he may be able to get up into 7th place as well as Harville. He's only about a half second in front of TB Henry there, so we'll have to see how he plays the strategy here. It looks like Harville, though, is pulling away from Henry, but Henry, again, on the old tires, so should be a relatively easy pass from Thomas Wolf here, but I've been proven wrong multiple times. We'll have to see how this plays.
Fresh tires on the inside of Wolf. He looks to try and keep it safe underneath Henry. And for the time being, they look to scrap. There's the side-by-side. Expect this to go Wolf's way with the fresher tires. Henry does give it to him. Now, you've seen the race leaders. They've already taken under 5 laps to go in the stage. The leaders right now coming down the front straight away for reference. These drivers likely not going to lose a lap. If anything, there is one driver at risk of losing a lap. John Holiday also did not take tires, but has struggled mightily since then. 32.7s. He is about 4/10 slower than everyone else on the strat, and he's at risk of losing a lap here.
More than likely will, as there's still 4 laps in the stage, and those leaders are closing quick, so he's going to have to do some almighty blocking in order to stay on the lead lap, but I highly doubt he will do that, as it's just way too quick, as that's an orange next-gen car. I believe that was our choose cone.
Yes, it is. Now, the reason why you seen an orange next-gen car in the pit lane, I was confused at first when I seen the settings, and then we heard the driver's briefing. The reason Jordan Sailors is not in the race tonight, guess who gets to be the choose car?
Oh man, this is gonna be a hoot to watch. I can't wait for this restart here at the stage, man. This is gonna be fun, and I guess we could explain it a little bit better once we're under caution for the stage.
Speaking of the stage, pit road is closed, and John Holiday loses a lap. On the bright side, he's the only one in range for the lucky dog. So at least we'll be on the lead lap with the stage end. Hollyman trying to hold on to said stage, though. That time by Murray, gaining a 10th down the straight. Hollyman looks more comfortable coming to the white flag this stage.
Alex Murray won't give this up very easily, though. Off of turn 4, you see that 10 car getting bigger and bigger in the windshield of Alex Murray. Will there be enough time for the 22 to get up to the 10 and make a move? It doesn't look like it, but hey, you never know what could happen here. Going down into turn 4, will we see an almighty dive bomb, or will Alex Murray concede the stage?
Hollyman with clean space ahead. No dive for Murray for the stage win. So it's Blair Hollyman who gets said stage. 21 bonus points throughout the season through the stages. Add some more. Stage yellow is out. Hollyman wins the stage over Murray, Edstrom, Saucier, Burnett. Christopher Burnham finishes 6th. Corey Harville in 7th. Thomas Wolf gets to 8th. Then it's Philip Henry in 9th. Robbie Oakes Jr. rounding out the top 10. So Raymond Root does not get stage points.
That's a trend that has continued from previous races, as he hasn't gotten stage points in either of the last 2 plate races either. So that just proves my point. Raymond Root's not playing for the stage points here. He is playing for the win. So we'll have to, he's more than likely going to take tires, or well, he will be taking tires, I should say, on this next pit stop. But we'll have to see what other people decide to do, as it looks like the majority of the field will be coming down pit road. I don't know if they'll decide to take tires or not, but for one thing's for sure, Raymond Root and Kendall Leveron and some others that didn't take tires on that pit stop will be.
Now, I do have one question before we step aside here. Can Hollyman keep going to the left like this in the pit road, or do they have to stay to the right? Because there's got to be a method to him trying to take the shortcut to the inside.
I believe they have to stay in the fast lane, if I'm not mistaken, but that could have been because the last 2 pit stops, he's been side-by-side with Alex Murray. So I think if you're side-by-side with someone, you don't have to be in the fast lane, but I do believe if you're, like, not side-by-side with anyone, you do need to be in the fast lane.
Race off the pit road. It's close. It's Alex Murray, in fact, who gets the edge. Blair Hollyman shuffled a second, so pit box 1 comes into play. Murray, Hollyman, Edstrom, Saucier, Burnett, along with Burnham, Henry, Wolf, Root, and Yost Jr. The top 10 in said race. All drivers taking tires this pit stop cycle. We'll take a quick step aside. When we come back, we'll explain the new choose car rule. You're watching Grid Vision.
Racing isn't easy.
Welcome back to Grid Vision, where tonight the SSRL debuts the Choose car for its truck series. And now we get to explain what that means. Have you ever heard of a Choose cone or the Choose V? Well, that's not a thing on iRacing per se. So instead, Jordan Sailors has volunteered to become a cone. So the series director is in this orange car. It's quite simple. If you go to the inside of the car, you start at the inside lane. If you start to the right outside of the lane after the start and finish line, you start outside. If you hit the car, then you get an EOL, and that's probably the least of your worries. Does anybody hit the Choose car? Does anybody get a blown motor as the reward to the first ever Choose car? No, we all do it cleanly, Nick.
Oh man, I'm sitting there chuckling because when I heard that they were going to use a Choose car, that is not what I was expecting. I was not expecting a bright orange car to sit on the track. Man, I'm sitting here chuckling about it. That was great.
Well, it worked out. Nobody hit it. And I almost wonder if it's more intimidating to have the car rather than just a visual sign or a cone that you're using down the backstretch for that. But
yeah, it has to be a next gen because it's the biggest car that you can see in. I'm sorry, this is just too funny to me.
So Murray chooses the bottom with his teammate Edstrom. Hollyman chooses top. Same with Saucier. Burnett chooses bottom. Burnham chooses top. Then Root choosing bottom. Henry top. Rios Jr. bottom. Wolf top. Leveron bottom. Fuchs Jr. top. Arville bottom. Abert top. Hollyman bottom. Marty top. And Runkle is still 10 down. All set for the restart zone. Less than 50 to go. One pit stop to the end of the race. Green flag is out. And tire spin on the outside line sets up the Prodigy trucks to go 1-2 into turn 1.
Into turn 1, Blair Holloman getting to the inside. That's going to be the most important part of this restart for him. He may have lost a couple of positions, but we know, we saw it on that first run, Holloman has some incredible long run speed. So we're probably going to see that 10 truck fall back a little bit. And then as we start to get further and further into this run, we'll see him start to move back up. But as I say that, making a move on the outside at the 74 of Edstrom.
Looking to recover quickly. He's going for the lean, in fact. Holloman's been one of the few, if not the only driver comfortable on the second groove all through 1 and 2 and making it work long run. He makes it work for the lead by a wide margin, and here comes Saucier looking for second.
Burnett's also looking to get in onto this action as Saucier now to the outside of the 22 of Alex Murray. Burnett gets to the outside of the 74 of Edstrom, also attacking Alex Murray. Here comes RJ Root in that 7 truck. Of course, we saw him. He has that extra set of tires. Burnham almost sending it 3 wide through the middle. Edstrom all the way on the bottom, Root on the top. Burnham backs out of the 3 wide, and it looks like the 74 and the 22 are saving tires right now, falling through the field incredibly quickly.
Massively quickly. Surprisingly quickly, we're talking 4/10 slower compared to those up top. Burnham zips up top following Raymond Root. And in turn, the 22 and the 74 go backwards. Henry also joining suit. Last times up on the board, you see the massive difference in discrepancy amongst those times. We're talking potentially up to 6/10 depending on the car.
Now, if I know Alex Murray, and I know Alex Murray very well, trust me, I do. He is telling Brandon Edstrom, he is telling him, save tires. This will help us in the long run. Alex Murray now knows RJ Root has that extra set of tires to play with, so a little bit of a split difference in that Prodigy Esports camp. Alex Murray telling Brandon Edstrom, save that set of tires, because who knows, they may not take a set of tires here and hope for a late caution. We'll have to see how that plays, but for now, 2 out of the 3 Prodigy drivers falling very, very quickly.
Looking up at the front, meanwhile, Saucier stays up in second. Mike Burnett doing solidly as well. Expecting a big charge from some of those still in this pack, though. Yost Jr. trying to pass on the bottom. He's alongside Murray. Levron nearly hitting the back bumper of Edstrom. That's how close he's getting. Harville, who picked up some damage repair under the caution, he's looking offset 3 wide.
Oh man, things are getting sketchy back here. I don't think people were expecting Murray and Brandon Edstrom to be saving this hard, as Leveron lost a ton of time trying not to wreck Brandon Edstrom there. And remember, these two had a little bit of a beef at Richmond Raceway, I believe it was. These two got into each other, and both of their races were effectively ended by that, so maybe a little bit of hard feelings between the two, but for now, still falling back incredibly quickly. I'm just sitting here watching these two, save tires, because I'm almost astounded by it.
So far, they've bled 3.5, 4 seconds. Thomas Wolfe now pressurizing. He's off the door of Lebron. Able to hold on to it and stay inside of Lebron to boot. And Thomas Wolfe getting a little bit physical, having to get the elbows out to battle just for 11th.
Now I wonder if people are already starting to fall off. Remember, we're only 4 or 5 laps into this run. Maybe we're already seeing people start to push those tires a little bit too aggressively for this run, because either that or the 3 behind Brandon Edstrom and Alex Murray have decided to save. As I say that, lever onto the inside of the 74 of Edstrom. Going into turn 3 is not quite going to send the dive bomb, but still put the thought into Edstrom's mind that he wants the position.
Heard of communication over the corner exits right now involving Edstrom. Right now, drivers like Leveron communicating about some of the pushes in that respective group. Dave Foods Jr., he tries to push his way up into 7th as he tries to find a way as the head of Pack 2, essentially. Or Pack 3, should say.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of different packs form, almost like a plate track in a way, so already seeing the difference between people who are wanting to save and people who are wanting to push and get that shorter stint out of the way early, maybe. But for now, just waiting to see what happens here in this third pack, because You can see the people that are wanting to save and the people that are wanting to push. There's almost a little contact between Fuge and Murray there. Behind this, though, Leveron's to the inside of Edstrom, and looks like Murray's to the inside of Rob Yost, and this pack is starting to get a little bit interesting here as they're almost about 3 wide there.
Edstrom nearly taking a risk alongside Yost Jr. and his teammate Murray. Instead, lined up behind the 11. And this is almost comical with how it looks on the visual, should say. Keep in mind, though, the top 3, they already have a cushion about a second and a half. These drivers now 5 seconds back. And now apologies on how these drivers are fighting so aggressively. Again, this is for 7th.
And we have to keep in mind that 22 and the 74, they seem to be on a tire-saving strat here. Yost a little bit loose off of turn 4 there. He keeps it straight. Leveron goes up to push. And it looks like Yost is going to attempt to attack Murray here. Goes all the way to the outside, and he's going to be running the middle line in 1 and 2. We'll see if that 83 decides to attempt to make that work as Edstrom cuts him off of 2.
Here's a look at the second pack. Meanwhile, Raymond Root, he's been trying to lead the group, but Bill Pennery trying to find a way to get around to the inside. Of note, Austin Runkle's got a black flag. He had some troubles on the apron, so the 18's back in. Corey Harville's in the grass. The 14 has had a problem on the front stretch. Off the side of Kendall Leveron, we stay green.
Oh man, that was between Yost, Leveron, and Harville. They were 3 wide off of 4.
And you have to wonder the 14 didn't know there were 3.
That is most definitely what it was. I don't think Leveron realized he was 3 wide either. I think that's what that set off that entire incident there. That seems to be a racing deal in my book.
There is a warning for the 14, Corey Harville, for the incident points. He's picked up. Remember, he's already had 1 spin to add to that total.
Keep in mind, I believe they
cleared.
I do believe they get the warning at 17, if I'm not mistaken. 17, or no, excuse me, 13 is the warning, 17 is a black flag, and then 25 is the DQ for incident levels here.
Which leads to the question, where did he pick up 13? We've seen 2, and the other contact would be 6. Where did the other come from?
That's a good question. Let me go do some investigative research and figure out what it actually is, because I don't know if that's what it actually is, but I'll have to look.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second.
Yeah, you're talking official. But Hollyman officially has an 0.8 of a second gap nearly. He is pulling away and fast from Saucier. Last time by, nearly a 10th quicker. Right now, Mike Burnett already more than a second back. Of note, though, the second pack is starting to cut the gap down. Partly because lap traffic, but more so because they've started to pick up the long run pace comparable to the race leader.
Yeah, I do not see where the actual incident limits are, but I'll do some research post-race, but I do think it is that 13, 17, 25. I do not know off the top of my head, though.
Also, by the way, in that second group, Thomas Wolfe has basically set it up to 10th. Robert Yost has fallen all the way back to 12th. Dave Fuchs Jr. trying to battle, in fact, with Wolfe, or close to it. They've started to spread it a little bit, but the fuel window going to be critical soon. Already, within 10 laps from the final pit stops, the money stop coming up here. Expect stops in the next 3 laps potentially here, Nick, because this could close out the race, and this could be critical for many.
It will most definitely be critical, and I did find out what that limit was. It's a 9x for a warning, 13x is a drive-through, 17x is a stop and go, and 21x is the DQ. So I was wrong by a very large margin.
So by that logic, it appears Harville at the very least hit a wall. Hence why we're 28 seconds of damage would also be fixed before. Downside, he's now got more than 28 seconds of damage on the right front fender.
That's just the nature of the truck, especially with the new damage model. It's a lot more realistic. So if you do hit that wall, got to be watching out for that wheel damage. We'll have to see what Harville has, but for now, we do know he is at 9 incident points for tonight.
So, with how things have shaped up here, pit stop's going to be very critical, but also you have to wonder what's going through the race leader's mind. Blair Hollyman's been the quickest driver throughout the night tonight. That 10 machine has kept close to winning a couple times. In fact, third at Charlotte, third at Kansas. Yet to break through in this series, but that's not for saying he hasn't had the speed. In fact, he's been in the conversation much of the season. This is his best shot by far to win, though. He's led the most laps of the season by far for his total. In fact, he's already more than doubled it.
He may be the fastest on track right now, or over the terms of the race, but fastest truck on track right now, 22 of Alex Murray. He is closing in that gap right now. Matter of fact, he's already looking to attack the 93 of Christopher Burnham for 6th position. Of course, he's got Austin Runkle in between him and the 93, but we'll have to see how that plays out with the team orders there between the 18 and the 93, but for now.
Yeah, Root's also very quick. Keep in mind, he's running 32 threes, couple 1,000s quicker than the race leader. He's within 2.5 seconds. Depending on what happens on the pit cycle, he might have a shot. And Henry scrapes the wall in the backdrop. That doesn't help his efforts as the pit window's now open.
Gonna be looking out for some pitting in calls here for the majority of the field. I wouldn't be surprised to see Holloman lead these guys down, as he has been the pace setter for tonight. As Fuge is coming in, Saucier's coming in as well over in race chatting. Henry's coming in as well, as we're hearing a lot of people already calling in this early into the run.
23 laps to go. Drivers can make it easily from here. Saucier is in, looking on board. This is the cockpit view from Fuchs Jr. He gets down to the speed limit, 45 miles an hour, one of the lower speed limits at the 1.5 miles. Levron also amongst those peeling on in this time by. So does anybody try and match? Mike Burnett looking to try and come in to match some of his drivers this time by. Hollyman keeping on going. He has the benefit of the cushion, though. That's the thing.
Root, though, he has the benefit of another set of tires, so he can come in, push as hard as he wants to finish this race. And Blair Holloman announcing he's coming in this time by. Tanner Marty coming in as well. And as I was saying, Raymond Root, he will have the upper hand. He will have the deuce aces, so to speak, here, as he has that second set of tires. So as I was saying, he will more than likely be pushing all out here, as here comes RJ Root as well. He's coming down pit road.
Bad news for Corey Saucier fans. Speeding is the penalty, the 33. We'll have to serve that penalty this cycle. Our first speeding penalty the entire race, by the way. Also coming into the pit lane this time by a big gain for Raymond Root on entry. That's been a big plus for the Prodigy drivers all night.
The 22 of Murray announcing he's coming in as well. So looks like these guys are coming in for their money. Well, this is going to be the money stop of the race, but we'll have to see who plays the push game and who plays the save, hoping for that caution. But RJ Root down and away. He's going to have a pretty good margin here on the 10 of Blair Holloman off of pit road. Will this be our battle for the lead, or will someone else join this battle?
Anybody trying to use the strategy card here is the major thing. Look who used the speed of pit entry exit to be able to close it up, though. Root gained 2 seconds on pit entry.
As I said, he has that good margin right now, and of course, he will be pushing all out here. I can guarantee you that anything Raymond Root can get out of that 7 truck, he will use to get up and try to get around Holloman. But of course, Holloman's going to be doing the same thing. He may not have an extra set of tires like Raymond Root does, but he definitely has the short run pace to keep that 7 truck at bay. This will be our battle for the lead. But of course, Mike Burnett's going to be joining in on this as well, and so is Christopher Burnham. So it looks like the tire saving for Alex Murray and Brandon Edstrom not working. they're actually going to lose time compared to where they were at that pit stop. Or, excuse me, at that pit stop.
And here is a crazy strategy. John Holiday already in. Philip Henry, no tires again. And guess what? He's leading by a couple seconds. Can this work out for the 25? And he does also now have 2 sets in the pits.
John Holiday, though, still staying out. He's got a 17-second lead over PB
He's
Henry.
in.
Philip Henry, actually, he just came out of the pits. Never mind. Disregard.
Yes. Yeah, I was about to say. But this is a bold strategy from the 25. Last time by a 31.5, fresh tires, 0.8 quicker.
I am very interested to see how this plays out. I think I know Philip Henry is banking on a late caution here, but the way this race has gone, he's not going to get that late caution. It has been green from the only caution we've had has been that stage caution, so it could happen, but I just do not see any way in which Philip Henry could win this race.
It's 2 tires, by the way, to confirm. Right sides only. So he does have a spare left set on spare exchange. 1 second the gap to try and make this work, though. Raymond Root still holding in front of Mike Burnett as they reach lap traffic. Austin Runkle in contact. Root to the wall. Austin Runkle turns the 7 into the wall. No caution yet as Root rides the wall.
That was what Holloman wanted, Henry wanted, but he didn't get the caution. That is gonna hurt the chances of the 25. He needed that to be a caution, and unfortunately does not get it. So that's allowing Blair Holloman to pull in even closer here.
Root's blown a tire as a result of the contact. Nearly came across the track in front of Holiday. Here's a look. Austin Runkle's been several laps down all throughout the race. He tries to hold middle on exit. There he goes. Is that on Root or Runkle, though?
That was not on Runkle. That may have been on RJ Root there.
And the argument you can make is the lap truck was holding on to its line. Albeit it towards the middle, but you can't do that.
No, that was on the 7 truck of RJ Root. Lap car, a lot of people may think the lap car needs to get out of the way, but even though a blue flag shows up in iRacing, a blue flag does not mean you need to let the faster truck by. We got to take a rule from the book of endurance racing and multi-class racing. It's the job of the faster car to get around the slower car, and RJ Root just making contact with Runkle. Unfortunate end of the night for the 7 truck.
By the way, Alex Murray trying to use the outside to pass by Burnham, gets himself to 4th. Still 4 seconds back of the leader. By the way, Hollyman did take the lead as to be expected with the 2-tire strat from Henry. Now it's nearly 2 seconds. The cushion. By the way, it's kind of a good thing we stay green. I'm not saying that because of the strategy factor, but I'm saying that because I have some bad news. The Choose car has blown its motor because guess who forgot to shut the motor off?
Oh, man, that's tough. Oh, man, what are they going to do now if we get another late caution? Oh, man.
I don't know what the contingency plan is for the blown motor of the Choose car. Now, how does this happen?
They got to get the backup truck like they did at Martinsville. Come on now.
I don't know if you can get a backup Choose cone driver into the session. I don't think that's a thing yet. Well,
I want to make a joke, but it would be very, very bad, so I'm not going to make the joke.
In the race, meanwhile, it's 11 laps to go. Hyman now leads by 2 seconds. Henry under attack by Burnett. Now, keep in mind, the times have equalized to a point. Henry might still have a shot at a top 5 here at worst. However, Burnett is still 0.3 quicker, so are the rest of the leaders in terms of the top 3 for now.
Yeah, you got to look out, though. Murray Was 4/10 quicker than Henry that lap, so it doesn't look like Henry, who's very loose off of turn 2. He's going to make a little bit of contact with the wall there. Allow Burnett to get to the inside. He's going to send the dive bomb to the inside of Philip Henry. And this should be for like... Oh, caution on the racetrack.
Somebody has stopped on the racetrack. And it's Austin Runkle who stops on the circuit.
That should not have been a caution. It looked like he was pulling off the toe. And since it was technically on the racing surface, that's going to bring out the caution.
What was he doing?
It looks like he was coming off the toe. Yeah, that looks like what he was doing. But I don't think he pulled off far enough off the racing surface. So that's going to allow Henry back into this race, who crucially stays in third position. So advantage Philip Henry, but the rest of the field looks like they have tires as well. Holloman fakes, Burnett fakes. Henry's the only one coming down pit road. He will have almost, 13 lap fresher tires than the rest of the field.
Save for a couple others here. And now it gets insanely crazy. So, we've seen how big the tire difference is even on the 2-tire stop. We're talking about up to 7 to 8 tenths quicker per lap to close the race. So how does this now work?
Crucially, the leaders were already falling off to what Henry was running to start that run on the 2-tire call. So that may allow Philip Henry back into this race as a contender for this win, but he's going to have a lot of work to do in 7 laps to get back up to be in contention here.
So a lot of questions over the radio from that caution, but Hollyman is the leader. Burnett, Murray, Edstrom, Burnham, the top 5. Thomas Wolfe had the chance for his first top 5. He's in 6th. And then it gets interesting because you have Tanner Barney up to his highest point of the race, Rob Yost Jr., Corey Harville with damage, Charles Abert with some trouble, Dave Foods Jr. had an 8-second stop, 2 tires. PB Henry takes 4. Lebron takes 4. Holiday, he was at one point a lap down. He took 4. Corey Sassier, he ended up coming down and getting repairs done with all that door damage he's been dealing with all race. So he starts the last of the lead lap. 15 drivers on the lead lap.
Like I said, it's going to be a lot of work for these guys that pit here to get through all of this traffic, all of these older tires in front. So, well, this is going to get very, very interesting.
And, well, here is what's going on with the choose cars since Race Control just found out from Jordan apparently that they blowed the motor. Unfortunately, the motor's been blown for 15 laps. So, we're going to the old way, which is just go to the inside or outside past a certain point.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, the field's letting Jordan know his mistake. Give it to it. I mean, I don't know what else to say.
The business.
Well, again, the main emphasis over the radio from Race Control, remember to turn the car off.
I mean, you would think that would be, what, rule number 1 of being a choose cone, but I guess it didn't cross Jordan Saylor's mind.
Well, all right, let's get grouped up here because a 5-lap shootout. Is that going to be enough time for, we're talking about 4 or 5 drivers to pass 10 trucks for the win? What do you think is going to happen?
As I said, it is going to be extremely difficult to get up through the field, but I've seen bigger comebacks before from the back of the field to the front. It's going to be tough. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it. It is going to be tough for the likes of Dave Fuge, Philip Henry, Corey Saucier, Kendall Leveren, those guys that pit there. It will be tough, but again, I've seen bigger comebacks. We'll have to see what happens here.
So again, old tires amongst the top 10. Dave Fuge Jr. having an 8-second pit stop during the caution sequence here. So he has taken left sides only. Everybody else behind him is on 4. Raymond Root, 8 laps down, is the last truck running. A 5-lap dash to decide it in Kentucky. Can Hollyman hold on for his first career win, or will strategy work out in what's expected to be a crazy one? iRacing pace car is off. Hollyman in control, heading to the restart zone. Remember, the last restart, Hollyman had lots of tire spin on fresh tires from the outside. Can he hold on to the truck on the inside? Green flag is out. No tire spin from him. Tire spin at the back of the group, though, as we're back on our way. 5 laps to go.
I'll be keeping an eye on the guys that are on fresh tires. Dave Fuge already attempting to make a move on the 83 of Rob Yost. Crucially, though, Henry's behind the 11 of Fuge, so he's being held up as well. But still, things are starting to explode up here, side by side for the lead between Murray and Holloman. Murray on the outside, Holloman on the inside. Behind them, that's Burnett and Edstrom side by side for 3rd position. Coming to 4 to go here. Murray's going to take the lead off of 4, but Holloman's still to the inside.
Murray with the chance to score his first win of the season in just his first start for points. Hollyman not giving up inside. Side by side for the point. Edstrom waits in the popcorn seat. Henry already makes his way up to the 10th, making 9th position. Coming now to 3 laps to go. Edstrom tries to go high side. Murray keeps it high on the squeeze. Still gets the run on exit.
We know Brandon Edstrom is not scared to make a move for the win. We saw it at Kansas. He went 3 wide, which led to a wreck, so he's not scared to make the move. It's just a matter of, does he have the pace for the move? Edstrom to the outside, but he does not have the pace to catch up to Holloman here. Holloman, though, is going to get a really good run off of 2, maybe attempting to make a move behind them. That's Christopher Burnham and Tanner Marty side by side. Crucially behind them, that's Philip Henry. Of course, he pit there, and it looks like he may attempt 3 wide off of turn 4. He will. 2 for the price of 1 for Philip Henry through turns 4.
Brandon Edstrom nearly got turned by Burnett in the same section. Down to 2 laps to go. Henry now looks for his chance at a top 5. Nowhere to go, getting boxed in. Here comes Hollyman for the race lead. He tries high side, tries to get the draft lined up. He's been good when he's been able to get alongside on the outside. He's made the second group work all night. He looks to try and take the high side back as they make their way to the front stretch. Henry is already fighting for 3rd. Is there enough time for him to get there? White flag is out. Final time around from Kentucky. Hollyman trying up on the second groove. One more chance. Murray works it to the bottom. Henry needs 5 truck lengths to have a shot. Murray tries to break draft. One more chance for Hollyman. He looks to send it. He keeps it clean. Doesn't make contact. Alex Murray out of turn 4. Tire saving works out at the end. It's Murray who wins it at Kentucky.
Henry got within 3/10 at the end there. Valiant effort from the 25 truck.
If it was a 6-lap shootout, we're talking about a wild finish, 3 wide possibly or something. Henry says it himself. He needed 1 more lap.
As always seems to be the case when it comes down to these close finishes. 1 more lap, 1 more turn, 1 more corner, and you could have had it. Shoulda, coulda, woulda, but still a very, very valiant effort there from Philip Henry there, finishing on fresh tires compared to the rest of the field.
And some congratulations to the boss man as Murray gets it done tonight. 2/10 the difference between him and Hollyman tonight. And a very happy 22 truck. And again, remember, he was amongst those who saved aggressively hard during the race. And it was the caution, if anything, that helped him win the race when you think about it because of the tires. Better life in the long run.
Yeah, saving there was of utmost importance, and from knowing Alex from a long time, I knew exactly what he was planning as soon as they started to fall off there. I knew they were saving tires for that late caution, so good strategy call from the 22 of Alex Murray. Unfortunately, doesn't work out for the other drivers of the Prodigy Esports camp and Raymond Root and Brandon Edstrom, but the team still gets the win at the end of the day, and I do think that camp will be quite happy.
See the unofficial race results on screen. As mentioned, Prodigy Esports driver Alex Murray wins his first truck start. Blair Hoyman, PB Henry, the top three. Then it's Edstrom, Levron, Marty, Wolf, Burnham, then Harville and Holiday amongst the top 10 here tonight in this one, Nick.
Finishing in 11th, Mike Burnett. Rob Yost finishing in 12th with Dave Fuge. Unfortunately, with that two-tire call not working out, he's going to finish 13th. Corey Saucier finishes 14th. Abert 15th. Raymond Root finishing 9 laps down in the end after that contact with Austin Runkle. Speaking of, finishing 17th, 23 laps down, and our good buddy in the Orange Choose Cone Next Gen car, Jordan Sailors, finishing last, of course, not running with the Next Gen, as it wouldn't have been close.
So touch upon at the running order here tonight. We'll take a quick step aside. Post-race coverage coming up in just a second. You're watching Grid Vision. Welcome back to Grid Vision for post-race coverage of the SSRL Truck Series from Kentucky. Justin Prince, Nick Stein, alongside with us and Johnny Sharp producing. Let's talk about with their top three tonight. But third place went to the driver who elected to take the tires. Saved a set and a half, in fact. PB Henry comes up just 1 lap short. He finishes within 3/4 of the win. Well, Philip, you came close. Just didn't work out with the timing. How would you describe the race tonight?
Oh, it was a ton of fun. I think I needed one more lap there at the end. Other than that, though, I can't be more happy though.
And you went bold on some of the strategies. You followed the Raymond Root strategy that he actually picked up on the radio. But then, why did you take 2 tires on the money stop per se?
Well, I figured that would save time in the pits, and it would. My left sides weren't wearing at all, so I just figured, just save time in the pits. That saves time on your overall stint. Same thing I do in the next gen, and it did not work out at all. That truck was so loose on 2 tires. It went from 2 tight in the first stage to 2 loose after that pit stop, and but the caution came out when it did, and that kind of saved me, I think. But yeah, just luckily I got the caution and need one more lap. But yeah, it was not a good call. I won't do it again, I don't think.
On the bright side, it's your second top 5 of the season and a bounce back from 16th at Kansas. But the next time out for the series, it's Super Speedway racing. How do you feel about being a Super Speedway racer in the truck?
Not a huge fan of super speedways in general. The truck itself doesn't race well with super speedways. You can't really pass, can't really do anything. I've never raced Atlanta in the truck since the reconfiguration, but overall super speedways in the truck not very good. So just hoping to get in, get out. You know, as long as I don't have a wreck, I'll consider it a good night.
Well, any shout outs you'd like to give before we let you go tonight?
Yes, shout out to Legacy Esports, Legacy Academy, helping me over there with learning the truck, learning the Cup car even more. So big shout out to them.
Well, congrats on the top 3 tonight once again, Henry.
Yes, thank you.
Phelps Henry comes away in 3rd tonight. 2nd spot, just 1 spot short. Goes Blair Holyman, a chance at his first win of the season. Couldn't hold on to the end. He's with Nick Stein.
Blair Holloman, you got so close at the end there. Unfortunately, just was not able to keep up with the likes of Alex Murray. And man, you had a fast truck all night long. How are you feeling after coming that close to a win?
Honestly, I consider that tonight like a victory. I didn't hit the wall. I didn't get wrecked by anybody. And I stayed up ahead, got stage points, and qualified up front. It was a good night altogether.
I mean, I have similar sentiments when it comes to racing. As long as I didn't take out the wall or take out anyone else, I call it a good night. And man, next week we're heading to Atlanta with the reconfigured plate track. How are you feeling for that one? I know a lot of people are a little bit interested on how that one will play out, as not many people have raced the truck on the reconfigured Atlanta. How are you feeling for that one?
I know tires there becomes a really big thing after about 10 to 15 laps. That tire temp in the right front, she wants to go toward the wall. It's going to be really interesting to see how can you draft to get ahead, because it might be a super speedway bull ring, so to say, but there really isn't much room when you really think about it for like a 3rd lane. So you kind of have to get it done early, qualify up front, make no mistakes in pit road, and hopefully you can dodge some chaos and stay up there. That's what my thought is on Atlanta.
Knowing that this is one of the last few mile and a halves, and knowing how well you've done at the mile and a halves, what's your outlook for the rest of the season? Of course, after Atlanta, we have Bristol, and then we go to Chicagoland after that. I mean, how are you feeling for the rest of the season, knowing it is going to get a little bit trickier from here on out?
I kind of like that the schedule gets a little bit more interesting as you go forward. I mean, with the setups we have, every track's fun to drive, so I've been impressed so far. But with the tracks that get more tricky as you go further, you gotta bring your A game. You just gotta bring that little bit more each time, especially if Bristol, because that track alone, I mean, it's a bull ring, yeah, but it's fast. It's literally it is the fastest half mile we have in NASCAR and iRacing for now, until Winchester arrives, maybe. But these tracks coming up, they're definitely going to separate the good from the great, and hopefully I'm on one side of the card. I don't know which yet.
Well, congratulations on the P2 tonight, Blair. We hope to see you next week at Atlanta.
Thank you, guys.
This Blair Holyman coming away in 2nd spot tonight. Alex Murray takes the 1st spot tonight from the pole. And first things first, Alex, how does it feel to be a winner in this series in what was a busy finish?
Definitely a really good race there between me and Blair. This series has a ton of really, really good talent, so definitely means a lot. And I race when I can, obviously, with the baby and everything going on. It's hard to get on here on a Thursday night, but when I'm able, I try to. And definitely, I was very surprised we only had one at-fault caution there, so that was really good, and hopefully we can continue that.
So let's start off at the beginning of the night, because Nick Stein said originally that you weren't that confident around this racetrack, and then you set the pole. How did those expectations change as the night progressed, or did they change rather?
Honestly, I was just running my race and then qualifying. I don't even know what I did to put down that heater, but whatever I did, I couldn't do it again. I promise you that. So the confidence is always there, but I'm trying to learn the truck for next year so we can go RTP racing, and it's a good start. But we've got to gotta work on a couple things there. But overall, I mean, just an awesome race there with me and Blair.
So in turn, with how tonight played out in this one, you mentioned the difficulty trying to get the timing there, but in terms of your thoughts from the team perspective, Prodigy has been showing a lot of speed from its drivers this season. What's that like from basically the admin perspective slash your seat perspective for how the season's gone in the trucks?
Yeah, I mean, as the owner of Prodigy Esports, it's awesome to see my guys doing really well, and I support them. I watch every race, or at least try to when I'm not busy. And then I'll even hop in the Discord when they're racing and just talk them through scenarios and try to be a coach for them. It's really good to see them doing really good, and I'm glad I can continue that.
In turn, any shout-outs you like to give for this one?
Yeah, NAMI, Northern Alliance on Mental Illness, for helping people with mental illnesses every day, and also No Kid Hungry for supplying 10,000 meals to children all around the world every day, and Prodigy Esports, and fiance, little boy, all the support that I have around me. Obviously, you guys for broadcasting this league. You guys do a great job week in and week out, and I'll hope to see you guys soon.
Well, congratulations once again on the victory tonight here in the Truck Series.
Thanks, guys.
Alex Murray gets the job done tonight. I'd like to thank him, Blair Holyman, PB Henry, for taking the time to speak with us during post-race coverage here on Grid Vision. Well, Nick, your team boss won in his first start. Your thoughts on tonight?
Well, knowing Alex Murray, I honestly kind of expected it from him tonight. He's just that good of a racer, and I'm sad that he isn't able to race as much as he used to, but of course, that's what happens when you start a family, so just wanted to congratulate him, but hey, it was Kentucky. It was a fun one tonight. We originally thought it was going to be a fun one. It turned out to be a fun one, so I would call that a typical truck race at Kentucky, if I do say so myself.
Indeed, a fun one here from Kentucky. Let's take a look at what's coming up here on Grid Vision, because this is not our only time here at the facility this week, keep in mind. As a matter of fact, some of the drivers you've seen in this race tonight, they'll be here on Sunday. Let's talk about what's coming up on the schedule. An interesting special event coming up from the Careers of Thunderclap and several other major events like the Case Cracker 200 is Corna Sika. That takes place tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Expect it to be an interesting night with Nick Stein a part of the call there. He'll also be joined by Brandon Edstrom in what's been described as a potential rival to Mooncar. We'll see if it lives up to the lofty hype. Also, it's the Global Racing League Truck Series at Phoenix at 12:30 p.m. And then RGR goes to Kentucky. Thomas Wood, the Monsters, to keep an eye on there. He finished 7th of this race. That's it, 9 p.m. Eastern Time this Sunday here on Grid Vision. Let's look at the busy schedule when it comes to tonight's festivities as we get ready for another week of racing here on Grid Vision. Remember, the next time this series hits the track is at Atlanta on November the 9th. 100 laps of Super Speedway racing. But that's just about it here tonight. For next time, for our producer, Austin Derbyshire, I'm Justin Prince saying so long. Enjoy the rest of your evening. You've been listening and watching the SSRL Truck Series from Kentucky Speedway here on Grid Vision. Good night from Sparta.